type 2 diabetic and struggling to decide what to eat or what not to eat, wondering if those foods labeled as diabetes friendly are really friendly for you or not? Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about 6 foods that you should not eat if you are diabetic, even if they are labeled as diabetes friendly. Quickly, I am Dr. Amina Goodwin, a physician and health coach, and I help people who struggle with blood sugar problems to figure out how to eat better so that they can feel better and get on with life without having to spend too much time in the healthcare system. All right, so 6 foods, diabetic foods that you should stop wasting money on. We're going to dive into this one quickly. First one is chocolates, specifically diabetes friendly chocolates. My goodness, those chocolates are some of the worst that you can buy. They are loaded, or should I say laced, with sugar alcohols most commonly. And sugar alcohols, even though they are labeled diabetes friendly, examples include maltitol, sorbitol, xylitol, even erythritol, which is probably the gentlest of them all. But sugar alcohols do get absorbed into your bloodstream and can get your blood sugar levels quite high. It varies for different people. It varies depending on the type of sugar alcohol, but it is not a totally diabetes safe thing or sweetener, and your best bet is to stay away from it. In terms of chocolates, if it has a fancy label, it's probably not going to be the best for you, and your best bet is to just go for a plain old dark chocolate, at least 70% dark chocolate. Usually they would have nuts, and you can sort of flip the label and make sure it doesn't have excessive amounts, if any, added sugar. When in doubt, you can just buy your own raw chocolate and melt it and mix it down with some nuts or whatever you choose to flavor it with at home. Okay, so diabetes chocolates or diabetic safe chocolates are usually a no-no. Second thing for you to not waste money on would be fruit cups. Now, a lot of we think that fruits are safe, it's healthy. It's one of the things I say, and a lot of people say, is it's better to eat your fruit rather than to drink your fruit. So choose the whole fruit rather than the fruit juice. Now, I had a patient once, I remember his mother brought him some, like a 6-pack of fruit cups, because he was newly diagnosed diabetic and she wanted to bring healthy things for him. And so she brought these fruit cups. And what she didn't realize is that you have to read the label of every single thing you buy. All of us should do it, but even more so diabetics. You need to look at the ingredient list to see what is written. Anyway, when I looked at the fruit cups, those fruits were basically soaking in syrup, right? They were in syrup, and you look at the label, and I think one packet or one little cup had about 24 grams of sugar, of which most of that was added sugar. Every 4 grams of sugar is equal to 1 teaspoon. The recommended daily allowance of sugar, added sugar, is no more than 6 teaspoons. So that one fruit cup gave that young man about 5 teaspoons of added sugar. Fruit cups are a no-no. You're better off buying the fresh fruit. If anything, you can get frozen fruit. Those are your 2 best options for fruit. You might wonder what to do with frozen fruit. I mean, there's so many recipes, but anyway, frozen fruit, if not fresh fruit, and you do not want any sugar added to your fruit, okay? So forget about fruit cups. Third thing that diabetics should not waste money on is essentially cookies that say sugar-free. The fact is, cookies are almost invariably made with some type of flour. Often it's wheat flour, but there are a variety of types of flours, rice flour, even almond flour, right? But rice flour, corn flour, even wheat flour, whole wheat flour, it is milled, and essentially these things are starches. What is starch? Starch is a string of sugar molecules. Think of starch as a long train with several cars. Each car is sugar. So essentially starch is like a long train car. When it gets into your body, all the bonds between each of the individual cars of the train, those bonds break and you have free sugar floating around in your bloodstream, okay? So it says sugar-free cookies, but it's a starch. It's a starch-based cookie. And so that cookie, whatever it's made of, is going to break down and turn into sugar in your bloodstream. So, you know, just don't really think that, okay, you know, sugar-free, it's a cookie, or even sugar-free desserts, right? In addition to the fact that these things are made with flour or starch, they also have artificial sweeteners in them, and we are learning more and more about how artificials are not necessarily beneficial to diabetics, or any of us for that matter, and in fact they might make things worse. Okay, I just spoke about the sugar alcohols. Those may be in some of these desserts, but generally speaking, a sugar-free dessert is essentially starch, which is going to carry your blood sugar up in many cases. Fourth thing that diabetics should really consider not using, just don't waste your money in it, is instant oatmeal. Instant oatmeal is highly refined. Now, oatmeal, of course, is classically thought of as a health food, right? And, you know, it has fiber, it has some amount of naturally occurring fat as well, which would be better than the factory processed fats, right? But instant oatmeal is super processed, which means that there's not much work left for your body to do. Essentially, anything that doesn't require much chewing, much work for the body to do, means that it is easily absorbed into your system, and anything that gets easily absorbed is going to go very quickly to your liver and cause it to be a little overwhelmed. Depending on how much of this thing you eat, that will determine how significantly increased your blood sugar would get after eating the food. If you really love oatmeal, consider steel cut oats. Steel cut oats is the oats, basically they just sort of chop it, but it's not grinded and cooked and processed. So your body still has to do a lot of the work to break down the fiber bonds that are still in that oats, like whole oats, right? And so because it's doing all that work, your blood sugar is not going up as much. Steel cut oats, like anything that's not refined, will take a bit of getting used to. Usually these things are harder, more chewing, more work to be done, and you also will have to learn how to prepare it as well. But if you don't like it, then you just have to choose other options. But instant oatmeal, for similar reasons to the cookies, it's basically going to turn straight to sugar in your bloodstream and contribute to high blood sugar levels, right? Fifth thing, gluten-free bread. Similar again to the last two examples, gluten-free is like a buzzword. It's like one of those words where you think, okay, gluten-free, oh, it must be healthy for you, right? And even if you're not, many people who are not gluten sensitive still gravitate to that gluten-free label just because of popularity and marketing, making us think that, hey, you know, it's better for us. But again, it doesn't have wheat, but these breads are made from other types of starch flours, rice flour being a common one. And just like I said, flour, or starch rather, is a string of sugar molecules, and those bonds between the sugar will break down as soon as you eat it. And in fact, some of these gluten-free products, breads and other products, will have an even higher glycemic index than the regular wheat bread, whole wheat bread. They will cause your blood sugar levels to go up even higher. So beware the gluten-free label, beware gluten-free bread. It's not any better. If anything, it could be worse than regular bread. And then the sixth and final thing that I will say to really probably not waste your money on is meal replacement shakes. So meal replacement shakes been popular for decades now. Slim Fast might be the original meal replacement shake, but these shakes are essentially a combination of, I guess you can say, chemicals almost, just a mismatch of things put together in a factory and made fancy by the different vitamins and minerals that are added. And so you feel like, okay, this is a complete meal. But again, like I said, anything that does not require much work, there's not much chewing involved, there's not much for your body to do in terms of digestion, it means that that thing is going to really get into your bloodstream very quickly. Gonna be getting into your bloodstream from the upper part of the intestines. So there's nothing left to move further down your intestines to cause you to feel satisfied, nothing left to go further down to feed the good bacteria in the intestines. And overall, you are not benefiting, but if anything, you're being hurt from this thing. A lot of these meal replacement shakes also have starch, and a common starch added to these things is maltodextrin. Maltodextrin is a thickener. It is tasteless, odorless, so it really goes in and you would never know it's there, but it is a super refined starch. It may as well be sugar, even though it doesn't taste sweet, but it's so refined and so easily broken down into sugar in your system, very high glycemic index. So these things, even though they might not have any added sugar, they will in many cases have artificial sweeteners, but they will have other things that are not sugar, but they will cause your blood sugar to go up, and you would be wondering, what is going on? My sugar level is not being controlled, and you know, I don't know what's going on, right? So these are 6 things that I would highly recommend, that even if they might say healthy or diabetes friendly, you should be very wary about wasting your money on these things thinking that your diabetes will get better quickly. Diabetes chocolates, fruit cups, sugar-free desserts, cookies, cupcakes, instant oatmeal, gluten-free bread, and the 6th one was meal replacement shakes. I hope you all found this helpful. For things that you might consider eating, I did a video recently, I will tag it here, of 5 easy things that you can incorporate into your meals, and these things are not going to jeopardize your diabetes. Thank you very much for watching, and be well.